We're live.
Let's
Hello,
do
hello,
this.
hello.
All right, folks, welcome to Tech Talk, another edition of an opportunity to learn a lot about what is going on around you technologically. Um, we want to welcome you, as often said. This is Across Africa, the network, Tech Talk, the program. Eric Cooley will be our moderator for the day, and we will follow through with everything else that have to be said. Eric, um, Telvi, Titus, welcome, guys. Unfortunately, we are missing one person today who is Nelson Gaga, who is a part of the Tech Talk team. Unfortunately, he's not here right now due to other engagement. But we will follow the lead of our brother Eric Cooley and get the best out of it. Eric, the platform is yours, boss man.
Thank you, Chief. Thank you. I appreciate that. Thanks for watching, guys. Do us a favor, please go ahead and share the video to the best of your ability so that we can have more people to get the information that we have for you to deliver. I am not a familiar face when it comes to the kind of broadcast, but thanks to Julia for making this space available. And I want to believe I will just take charge and just run with it, see how best I can take care of that. So today on Tech Talk, we have a very important information to relay to our target audience. If you're wondering what Tech Talk is about, just a brief explanation on that. We are focusing on making sure that our country, Liberia, and Liberians all around the world are able to prioritize technology, especially the government, to be able to, incorporate technology into our day-to-day experience or how we run our country. So that is the goal of Tech Talk. So we'll do all we can wherever we see any loophole that we can talk about to improve the country generally. That's what Tech Talk is about. So I'm glad to share the moment with these uh, very brilliant Liberian technologists. So today our focus will be on what we call CIA. It is not the CIA that we know that dwell in Washington D.C. or somewhere in a cloud. So, so specifically, we say CIA is an acronym that we use in technology or IT security to mean something different: confidentiality, integrity, and also availability. So we want to see how best we can lay the foundation on how the CIA can actually help transform our individual lives and also our life as a country, Liberia. So that's what we are here to talk about. And we are going to go and discuss these individually, what the C stands for, what the I stand for, what the A stands for, and we'll see how best we can explain how we can incorporate that into our society as Liberians. So that's where we are. Uh, Maybe I should probably give a chance to brief introduction for every one of us before we proceed. So I'll start with, uh, oh, somebody escaped.
Right.
Tell.
So, I mean, I think I will hold off. And ladies and gentlemen, it is often said, we will equate the gender part of this conversation, regardless of
Okay.
the fact that what it say, right? Gender equality goes around the world. So even in technology, we must incorporate that aspect of this. So I will wait and give Tel the opportunity to chime in on this, and then Titus, and then hopefully I'll go last. So Telf, let's hear from you. I'm not going to speak before you. I don't want to be held in contempt. All right. So gender equality. So go ahead, Telf.
Yeah, I think the discussion of the CIA triad is a very good discussion, like we all know. Just for the viewers, this is the foundation of technology, cybersecurity, like my brother Eric said. These are just fundamental things. Is like this, the Father, Son, and the Holy Ghost. That's the triangle right there. So you have to know, and we'll go deep into it, but it's just pretty much talking about the data. Who hands the data get into, how we should secure our data, and things like that. So we'll go in depth into it. So just stay tight. We'll talk about it, talk about different parts of it, the integrity of the data, and availability of data, things around that. So I don't want to spill the beans, but as we go into it, I will chime in. So over to you, Titus.
Titus, go ahead.
Yeah, thanks, Lufar, and thanks, Eric. Yeah, so like the previous speaker said, the CIA is not the one in Washington that we're trying to talk about. It's just the foundation of when it comes to building of a system. That these are essential things that we need to make sure we have a vibrant or more reliant and highly available system. So, the email objective of this conversation today is to actually align some of these or terminologies and some of these stuff with how they can be or used in Liberia. How can society benefit from some of these things? Because we know that a lot of things are not confidential over there. We know a lot of things, there's no integrity when it comes to person, system, processes, and all. And things are always not available there. So maybe this conversation, one spark, we can see how best we can sell those ideas to the power that be over there, and they can try to integrate some of these things into our system to make our country more vibrant and available.
Um, so yeah, basically, and hopefully, I think Eric went off a little bit, but hopefully he will join us back shortly. But again, like all of the panelists just spoke of, the CIA is not the CIA that a lot of people are aware of in the Washington D.C. area. The CIA is the acronym that represents a specific the area of information technology, what we often will reference as security. You have confidentiality, you have integrity, and availability. That those words are those were compiled, and that's where you came up with the acronym CIA. So you have confidentiality, you have the issue of integrity, and what we're doing tonight here in this conversation, we will try to dissect these different components of the this part of technology, information technology, so that you can see how the CIA concept, the diagram of CIA, which I hope you would not see it as the CIA of the United States or in DC, can support or provide some level of support for Liberia, the government, and everything else. So this is why all of us on here, and we will chime in from our different perspectives when it comes to information technology. So here we are again. As I said, thank God that we have our moderator back. I'm not moderating, but due to some technological issue, he dropped off, but he's back now. So I'll get back and then give Eric the baton to lead us in this entire discussion. He will actually walk us through the process, and all of us will chime in on the conversation. Eric, welcome back.
Sounds good. Thanks, Julia. For some reason, we have to experience that. That is our day-to-day activity when it comes to technology. We expect failure, so so not surprised at all. So I don't know how far you guys went, but we're gonna go ahead and discuss the CIA individual. As I said, we're gonna make sure that we discuss the C, the R, and the A, and how these components are applicable when it comes to information security and technology in Liberia. So let's get it open. Let's get it open. We start with the C, confidentiality. So let's try to do it in the very simplest term as possible. Lo-Fi Junior, there's no Bago Matthew English yet today. Make sure everything is make sure everything is very simple and in a very
What
understandable
am
way.
I telling Katie today?
I know, right? I know, right? Okay. So the
Hi,
issue of
Lucky.
I looking at you. Okay, wait, Isa. So
No Bago Matthew English today. So
okay, Eric keep it ready. But the issue of confidentiality, right? Confidentiality ties into the what we would say the expectation, just being responsible and understanding that what the low man would say, my privacy, uh, the secret in Liberia, we refer to the secret. When you share information with somebody else, you want that information to be kept as your secret, especially certain information such as health information, um, your personal data that you don't want the public to know. Those are information that are considered confidential. All right, those confidential information, and there are regulations that play into information technology. You are required or mandated. Eric said no big. All right, you supposed to. You, you're supposed to keep people information secret from everybody else until you're authorized. That means until you're allowed to disclose those information. You can't simply take those information and give it to the public. This is where the C comes into place, confidentiality. If Eric shared his social security number with Tilv, all right, and Telvina works at the hospital. She's the IT system administrator at the hospital. She have access to that information. Confidentiality requires that even if Telvi knows Eric personally, she is not allowed to share that information with anybody else, not even the president of the United States of America. That is prohibited. That's where confidentiality come into play. And in information technology, it is prohibited, especially in information security. The security aspect protects that part of it, and that's why it is heavily mandated in every aspect. Whether you work at a help desk, you work at you work as a desktop support, you work as a system engineer, no matter in what capacity you serve as an IT professional, you must adhere to that aspect of information technology that is respecting confidentiality. And this is something that is also, I want to believe, also respected in healthcare as well. I'll stop at that point unless Eric want me to elaborate or want me to be specific or anything else.
no, I think that's
I think
that's good. That's good enough, Julius. Thanks so much. And it could have been so clear. So let's say, yeah, from Titus. Do you have any other picture that you can pin for us when it comes to confidentiality?
Yeah, since we trying to break it down more to our audience and hopefully a lot of people watching the show from Liberia. Uh, in my mind, to keep something confidential is to be a secret. That's why you sometimes speak in code or you speak in dialect when you're in public places. And when I bring it to your house, that's why you have front door, back door, windows all sealed, because you got certain things in your house that you don't want certain people having access to. And then not everybody that comes into your house also have access to certain rooms. So when a person even come through the front door, it doesn't give them the direct access to go or to daddy's room or to sister's room or the brother's room, right? So because there are some confidential things in the living room, but once you have access to that living room, you can see it. But then also there are other confidential things in the various rooms that you don't have access to and you shouldn't have access to. So just making sure privacy is respected and whoever has information is kept in a most safe way that is not tampered with and is not compromised. So yeah, pretty much that's it.
Sounds good. Sounds good. Yeah, that that house analogy, I think it makes sense because you have to, if you want to protect what in your house, you got to do all you can to make sure that those secrets or whatever riches or money, or anything that in your house for sure is not left to the open by anybody who is not authorized to look at that. So I love that. Tell, what do you have to say here?
I like to give two examples. I mean, you guys set it off. It's like having information, making sure that it's getting the right hand of it. We'll say need to know basis. Lofa tells me something, it's between he and I. I don't need to go tell Titus. I don't need to tell Eric that. It's none of his business, nothing to share. Right there, need to know right here. Right here. It stops right here. But two examples when I think about confidentiality, think about our Google Drive. Most of us got Google Drive, right? So I have a lot of stuff on my Google Drive, but I send one thing to Lofa. I send Lofa a link to my resume, and I want him to review it. So I can give him read access, or give him different permissions. But I'm not giving my entire Google Drive to him. I'm just giving him access to just that particular link. Talking about confidentiality. Another thing, bringing them home. I think about George Weah asset declaration stuff that was flying all over the internet. In as much as we want to, everybody to declare the asset, but that was confidential information. It was given to a particular office or group just for serve that purpose. So it shouldn't have left to hit the internet or any other office. You cannot disclose that. I do at my job. I do a lot of network security. I do all the regulatory assessments. I'm the team lead and I take care of all of that. Part of one of the assessment, Lofa got to send me a network security architecture or Eric. If he sends it to me, Titus can come on Teams and say, Selvi, I know you got that information because you didn't do all the assessment here for the company. So can you hit me up and send me that? I cannot do that.
Right.
Titus will have to put in what we call a change request, or you will have to go and require access to have that information. So on a personal level, work level, I just give you everything to your in one, everything in a ball. All the example, 3 examples in one. So that's all I have to say.
Yeah, I mean, couldn't be well emphasized, and I like the bringing the situation in Liberia into it. That's why this particular tech talk is about. We are not here to prove that we are tech gurus and we can solve problem. We are looking at the future. We want to make sure that where we are in other countries around the world, we want to make sure those things experience are kind of experience in Liberia, because it's very important. Any country that wants to meet the obligations of the 21st century and more has to have IT technology security embedded into the system. Think about it. That's our goal. That's what we have to push forward to make sure that we got IT security into our system. So thanks, guys, for saying that. So that's confidentiality. In my view, it just a word confidentiality, which is a good thing, but it also has to be based on ethics, because as a person, you have to believe in ethics. So in order for you to not let things go in the public, for example, it may not be for yourself, but if for another person, only ethics can stop you from doing that. They'll say, okay, it's confidential, and I don't have to put it out there. But without ethics, of course, you're not going to be able to do that. So thanks for making that clear with confidentiality, guys. So before we go into that, to the next one, how I know Tevi already made some analogies about how important is it that that the country or individual Liberia or the country or the government components understand the necessity of confidentiality.
Eric, if you don't mind, please let me highlight. I think we highlighted a comment over here where someone is asking, what is the difference between privacy and confidentiality? And if you don't mind, if we can just address that's a salient question.
Yeah, it is.
And right, it's very I think that's a good question. And I think we should address that hopefully. If you don't mind, before we
Sure.
move forward, is that okay with you?
Yeah, for sure. Let's give it a shot. Yeah. And anybody want to?
And anybody want to jab at it before I can chime in here? The difference between um confidentiality and that of what we privacy. And I mean anybody can go in first. If not,
Tell you you are muted.
No, I think they both are intertwined. I mean, yes, we look at confidentiality from a cybersecurity standpoint or technology standpoint, but the both is it's just keeping that information. The only thing I can think about is confidentiality. We look at it from a place of data, data security, information security, things that their privacy beyond that. But in my view, they both are the same. It's keeping information to yourself or sharing it to who need to know. It's a need to know basis. I can't stress that enough. Tell who needs to know and really need to know. It's not because my mother issue I just need to go tell because I can't keep secret, in library. I just need to talk it. No. Why am I telling Lofa this? Is he working within the does he need it for the work that he's doing? Why am I just saying, or just to be the first to go get breaking news on social media?
And I'm glad. Oh, go ahead, Brad.
Yeah, just to chime into what Tel said. So I think the both of them comes from two folds. So for the privacy aspect, it has to do with I as an individual, I have the right to know how my information is collected and how it's shared. And then whoever that is collecting those information from me has that confidential right to prove to me, look, when I collect this information, these are the measures that I would take to make sure that it does not go into unwanted hands. So there's almost of the encoding and decoding. So the privacy aspect has to do with the person that is delivering the information, and the confidentiality aspect comes in to the custodian. What are you doing to make sure those information are not exposed to or the sources?
Yeah, or
Perfect.
even be sold. That's why you
Right.
have a lot of these confidentiality. These privacy agreements on websites and other places. So you want to make sure that you're not taking my information, gathering my data to go resell it. Things like that. But Lofa, over to you.
So I mean, you both explain it to its teeth. All right. So the issue of confidentiality and privacy have that intertwined a relationship, but this is where confidentiality is where it is regulated, it is mandated. Okay, so that institution that is in possession of the data. Okay, this is where data integrity comes into play, where I hand over data to Vina and say, hey, Tel, these data are supposed to be used for our clients. Now, it is mandated that they are kept confidential. Now, privacy, the privacy of the data owner must be protected. In this case, that person, and we are trying so hard to bring it to the simplest term here, where the privacy of that person whose data is in our possession must be protected. So if we were in possession of your social security number, or in the case of healthcare, if we are in possession of your health information, we must protect your privacy. So confidentiality is mandated that, okay, you must obey and regard confidentiality. In that process, this person's private information must be kept confidential. So you see where we say they are intertwined. Confidentiality is here. This is the regulation. This is the standard for this institution. We must protect the privacy of these individuals. So they work together in hands, but we are, as IT professionals, regardless of where you serve in the information technology industry, you must be able to adhere to that aspect of information technology that is providing the level of confidentiality that is expected of you. If Eric gives you his credit card information, that credit card information is kept confidential to protect his privacy. I hope I was able to make I was clear.
For sure, Julius. Yeah, I think
No,
well said. Yeah.
before we move to integrity,
Mhm.
one example is you're talking about privacy and confidentiality. Few months ago, Boyka came to America. I think they, I don't know, speculation that he was here for surgery or whatever it is. But a lot of people were calling all kind of hospital, one of the hospital location, they wanted his room number, they wanted other thing. The hospital couldn't do that. They would have been sued. Couldn't give all of that. They were, so that's another example of keeping people information private and confidentiality. I just want to make it practical. So that's all.
Sounds good. Sounds good. Just to add to that, I think privacy, confidentiality, as you guys said, they kind of intertwine. But I think Title's made a very good point. Privacy is more of individual right, so that your personal information, your personal identifiable information, are not, leaked out there without your consent. I mean, your authorization or so. And then confidentiality is like classified. It's a data classification or level. Some things are public, some things are restricted, and some things are just confidential. So when it goes to that confidentiality realm, that means, it's something that, as Julia said, involve regulation and stuff like that. Hopefully we answer that question. If you have any more questions, please feel free to put it in the comment. We're going to touch that. So going back to, before we go to integrity, I said how important it is that, confidentiality, is practice. It becomes a matter of practice in our individual life, or maybe in the government sector. How important is that for Liberia, Liberian government, or businesses, or hospitals, or private institutions to really yield to confidentiality? How important is it?
I would jump in on this one here, Eric, if that is okay with you, and Telvina, if that is okay with you, because again, because of my role on the social media, when it involve policy and politics. Okay, I think that the issue of confidentiality or data integrity is not observed at all. This is where it irks me to see that government officials are using their private laptops to share government information and business policies. That in itself is a breach to some extent.
Mm-hmm.
The concern for data integrity. Another thing here, you notice that almost every government official uses they are using their own, the commercial emails like Gmail, Yahoo, for business matters. That in itself is a breach of confidentiality and data integrity. There are some confidential things that are discussed to protect security of the state, but these guys are, you know what it means to simply sit on your personal email and communicate and send policies from your personal email to that of your colleague in the house and say, oh, we have to discuss this tomorrow. Every government official should have a designated email address that is created by the governing body, IT, the information sector, right? And have these data available, protected by the IT team. Unfortunately, that is not the case. These people are just simply doing their own things. How are you protected as Liberians? You should think about it. If you were to get in contact with Edwin Snow today, or Darius Deloy, and all of these people, when you ask them for their contact information, they're not going to give you any a government created domain link. to say, here, here's my email address. Communicate with me here, unless it's personal issue. They will give you a Gmail, Yahoo, or some other account. That in itself, it bridges the concern of confidentiality. We should be concerned about that.
Exactly.
That in itself speaks a lot to that, and that's why I wanted to be the first to jump on this. Okay, a lot of our Eric can
No, go ahead.
No,
Finish
go
your
ahead, go
thought.
ahead.
oh, okay.
Land,
And I was just going to land. I was just going to land on one more aspect of it. The fact that a lot of our websites, government-owned websites, are hosted out of the country. I mean, they are hosted by private vendors out of Liberia. For Christ in heaven's sake, we don't host our own. We don't have our own. You would think that as a country, Liberia government should have her own data center. Okay? Unfortunately, that is not the case. If you are to look at the government website today, it is hosted in Chicago. That is in itself a concern. Why we're doing that, I don't know. But I'll stop at that point, not to kind of talk over everybody else. But I just wanted to highlight that part. Hopefully we can emphasize and see reason for people to jump in on that and change something about it.
Sounds good. Sounds good. Very, very good. Very good. Well said. Anybody else? How important is that confidentiality is kind of embedded into our day-to-day activities as Liberian or as a government of Liberia?
Yeah, I think Lofa stressed. Stress some important points there, especially from a government standpoint. You can't be sharing government information to your private laptop. There could be a middle attack. There could be a lot of things that could make that information compromised. So you're putting a lot of information at risk, a lot of data at risk by doing that. Also, the information you're sharing to your private laptop or whatever it is, it's not even encrypted. And you're sending confidential information. So that's a breach by itself. The law said information not encrypted. So it's just flying all over the place,
That is correct.
It's right. And then look at from a banking perspective,
Yeah.
The banks have to be able to trust you. And so if you don't have all those security tools in place, that's a serious trust issue. So I think Liberia just need to do better as far as information security and putting a lot of safeguards in place. I know we're not there yet, but hopefully from these conversations they can use it to to do some process improvements.
Titus?
Yeah, so everybody said everything. I just want to chime in. So the first thing to ensure, or I'm coming from the south, how can we ensure our system or information or data in Liberia are confidential? The first thing, it has to be who have access to what. Okay, so we should look at privileges of that because I work to finance ministry, then I can access any system, which is the case right now. Or there should also be division of labor, because I was on the Spoon, listening to Spoon talk the other day when the CSA director made reference that finance ministry does the disbursement and also handles the payroll. So that's complete. It's a compromise. You can't
Yeah.
be you already
Oh, sorry,
compromised.
short, sweeties.
Yeah. Okay.
Mm.
And then also we should look at privilege or privilege is not because I have access to the system, I can log in, then obviously I can do whatever. So based off of my job description, I should have specific tasks. That's why we try as much to departmentize it, where if you're in this department, you can do this. So if there's a breach, if there's something left for a particular department, we can easily trace where it came from, where that problem lies, or who are on the system are last. And then let TelSec encryption. If you're using your personal devices, you're not encrypting sensitive information. Your computer could be hacked. Your computer could be stolen. you could be somewhere drinking beer and then somebody stole your password. You don't have multi-factor authentication to
Right.
verify, you know, and then all these things cause serious compromise. It's just that hackers, they're not really focusing on places like Liberia, or people they're not really
That
thinking
is a
about it.
giveaway. That is a give.
If they were
Yeah,
really thinking about it, if they were
yeah.
attacking, a lot of things, a lot of money they could make from it, because the people there, they are so lackadaisical with the system. They don't care about anything.
Mhm.
You understand?
That's
So
good.
so if we ensure that we making sure there's division of labor, we making sure there's department, and based off of that department, even with the fact that in that department you don't have all the privileges, there are certain things you can do, and that certain thing has to come from your management, from your manager or your supervisor, and you know, so all these things has to be in place to ensure that we keep information confidential. Otherwise, we are just playing games, and then at the end of the day, we will just keep evolving in the cycle.
That is correct. I mean, well said. So, very, very important. Uh, you know, I think that's why we're doing Tech Talk, because you cannot implement any kind of drastic confidentiality without technology, without IT. You can't restrict access. You can have access control. The confidentiality is so important that it can be granularized. That means we can make it like every time of the day, even though you have access to this information, during the day, but after this hour, you don't have access to that information until
Right.
another hour. That's how protected data or information should be. That how confidential they should be, because it can maybe your president of United or Liberia who have access to everything that you want to have access to. But the question is, how often do you access the information? If the
Yeah.
answer is maybe once a month or twice a month, they will restrict your access until you are ready to use it. That's how important confidentiality is. So, and that's our plea. Incorporate technology. That's the only way we can be able to uh, go follow with all these things that we want as a
And
company.
just to
So,
add, Eric, just to add, and what we fail to understand, we try to fight corruption, we try to do all this stuff, we try to ensure the healthcare is working, the education system is working, and but all these things not going to work without of setting up these systems and following
Mhm.
these. These are just simple principles that has to be followed to have a vibrant society.
That is correct.
Anything outside of that, you're wasting your time. You're not going anywhere. People will continue to steal. People will still going to die from at the hospital for minor causes. People will be or diagnosed wrongfully. And, and the education system will still be on a down spiral because these systems are not put in place. You cannot. The foundation of the house has to be strong before it can take the first level before I talk about the second level. Any other thing you do, if you don't have a strong foundation, you're wasting your time.
That is correct.
so I got a quick question here, and I want to throw Eric, if that's okay with you.
Go ahead.
Okay. So my question here is though, why is it that, I mean, after 100 and so more years of existence, we have not valued the idea of incorporating information technology in our governing system? Is it because we cannot afford it, or we don't value information technology? What do you think is causing the implementation of just information technology into our day-to-day practices? Is it because we don't have the infrastructure, we don't have the finance, or we just don't value technology?
I think for me, it's that they just don't value and prioritize it. It's not that they don't have it, because you can start small. You can start making small allotments and build up. Start from one agency or a couple of agencies. Prioritize the agency and build it. I think it's just prioritization and just not seeing the value add to it. That's all. And there's no people that say, I've heard before in the past that when people say they're bringing systems, then somebody say you close my chopping. I think that Eric gave an example one
Yeah, yeah,
time. They
yeah.
say you close
Sure.
my chopping. So no, they want no loopholes to be there, because
Yeah.
that's their breeding ground for fraud, and compromise and all of that. So that's all I can say.
Yeah, I think that's a very brilliant question, Julie. I'm not sure if we, on the panel can be able to give you a correct answer to that, because it's way bigger than what we can think. But I think it just lack of knowledge will be a very important part of it, because you can't actually think about anything to implement anything unless you have some kind of knowledge about it, or as Tevi said, some kind of value to it. Maybe I think that we have not been, some people love to be whooped before they get out and walk, as you said, Julius. Maybe, I mean, Tata said maybe we get hacked, the government shut down, maybe money loss, and the government can't function without anything. Somebody happen, like something drastic happen. Then of course, maybe say, okay, how can we fix it? If they have the the guts to do that. But you don't wait for stuff to happen before you implement things. But my answer to that, Julia, would be it's just lack of knowledge. Lack of knowledge probably leads to lack of interest, and maybe that's the reason why it can't afford everything, but it can start from somewhere, and that's why the show is about, to throw light on these things, that they are very important, that we create this room to improve.
I want to address the question from River Says Pro about does confidentiality has boundaries. Yeah, I mean, a case of a court order, a subpoena, if the police got a subpoena, a court order, obviously, yes, that's an exception. So yes, they will give them the information that they need to pursue their case. So that's an exception.
Yeah, it depends on the country. It depends on the country. Like in the US, they have laws. They have arts are passing in Congress that if police needs something, you gotta give it to them. So that's the limit of confidentiality. So of course there is a limit to that.
Right.
Sure.
Even in investigation, though, yes, of course, when it's required, that's a part of the standard or rules that governs confidentiality. It is required. It is mandated. You must abide. That's part of the law. You must abide by the law. If the law requires you to provide sensitive information during an investigation, you cannot abstain from the process because you are part of any kind of confidential rule, because the law supersedes all of that aspect of it, because the police need it. And that's the reason why the police support the idea of confidentiality. If they need it for a form of investigation, River Says Pro, we cannot protect your social security number. We'll have to share with the people, and they will know how many farms you own in River Says County, how many of those farms are given to all your girlfriends, and then we'll disclose all of that. I'm sorry, we'll have to give it because the police asked for it.
Yeah.
But there's another question here from Eugenia. I don't know if it's a question, but I think it's more like a concern. Eugenia said, excuse my ignorance. I don't think that no comment or question here should be considered ignorance or ignorant to the discourse. This is why we all are here. We're here to learn. We're going to learn from you, and you will hopefully learn from us. So don't think any question will be considered an ignorant question here. If you the simplest way you want us to explain, even if we are using technical terminology, ask us to break it down to the simplest term if we can, so that you can understand it for your benefit at the end of the day. Hopefully you will engage some of our government officials. They will learn from you. We may not have the opportunity to engage them directly. This is why Tech Talks is here. So Eugenia asked, she said, what is WhatsApp encrypted? And if so, is perhaps that's why they choose to use that from their personal devices. Anybody want to respond today? I mean, the
only thing I can add to that, I can say to that, the WhatsApp number that they're using and whatever it is not the company's phone. That's their personal phone. So if somebody grab that phone, it finished. You can't, because I got my personal Teams, I can't put my company information on my Teams just because I have Teams. I cannot. That Teams is between me and my friends, my children, wherever it is. My company got their own Teams. I can't do that. But if I have my company phone and I'm doing it, then if I work for the same company, I work for the same company, we can go, back and forth, because they got people who monitoring that conversation. They monitor everything there, what information is being shared. And even at that, there are certain things I cannot share, even on my company, Teams or whatever it is. Say, nope, you can't share this information. Nope, you can't even share a video this long. Bro, you can't do this. So there's still restriction. That's all I have to say.
So I'm pretty sure she's talking about the government official. I think that's what she meant. So now the difference is that even what website is encrypted, it's like end-to-end encryption. But who owns website? For any
Right.
breach, what are you going to do? Are you going to go to Mark Zuckerberg to say, "Hey, something happened in Liberia"? No, that's not going to happen. So WhatsApp is not Liberia network. It's a public platform, even though it's encrypted. But encryption liable to be breached in whatever way.
Right.
So it's not your network. So you can't rely on that. I think that's but it is encrypted for sure.
Well,
I
in
just
in
want.
the issue of go ahead, Titus. Go
Yeah,
ahead.
I
Sorry, go
just
ahead.
wanted to share my personal experience when it comes to using your personal
Device.
work related.
Oh,
Can you guys hear me?
yeah,
Yeah,
you're in
right.
Liberia, right? You're in Liberia, right?
Yeah, I just wanted to share my personal experiences when it came to using my personal data or device for work related stuff. So when I was an Oracle DBA at this company, and then we had a lot of off hours work, so it needed a lot of collaboration. And sometimes you'll be away, so somebody have to reach you on your phone and stuff, right? So we went to a meeting and they said, okay, we cannot be transferring like testing about company information on your personal phone. Because if not, then we will have to I think they
Subpoena.
said yeah, they needed to take the phone and do some security check or quarterly to know if there were any risks on that or not.
Yeah.
So we were opposed to that one, like that would be breach of our own privacy. You guys taking our phone like we in the police station or something. So what is that? They decided to give us work phone. That's how
Yeah.
I had a phone dedicated to them. They programmed their phone, so I was only answering and communicating work related stuff. So if, for instance, for any reason that phone got message from me, obviously I'm calling my supervisor right away. They're gonna block that phone, and there will be no intrusion into the system. There will be no communication accepted from that. I just wanted to chime in on reason why Liberia is way behind while other countries are making strides to catch up with the reality of the world. Now we going toward AI now. All the work that you see us doing, we building machines to be doing the work. Why our people back home haven't even started doing this work that we're doing. So you can imagine we're never gonna to get caught up. And the only reason why I seen so far uh two things is corruption, corruption, corruption is it. Because to a large extent, building this system, making sure these systems are vibrant will minimize corruption to a very great extent.
Yep.
So the power that be will fight it at all costs. You cannot tell me that all these we have people who have PhD, who have doctorate degree, who have worked in corporate America, have seen this system. They go back to Liberia, they work, they sit on the panel, they are decision makers. They never bring it to the flow. They never try to make it work there, because even if they try to, the system there will come after them. Sometimes they end up making them sick or killing them to some
Yeah.
extent.
That
You
is
understand? Yeah. And then the political will too, because sometimes if you do these things, you empower the people. So the way the people settle for mediocrity, when the politician buy rice and give you this, send your son to this community school with no anything, and you take that person to be your god, if they spend into this system, the kids having access to full internet, doing everything and learning stuff. Obviously, nobody gonna be, I will say, young guys that are supposed to be making change, building for themselves a life. They all turn to politicians, they all tend to tough talking person, they call it from Begugbe Avenue, they call it from the avenue, and they all being used as touche
that's right.
just for $20, $30. So it's
Yeah.
just starter code. These are the two things that I see from my, because I have a lot of friends and they some of them have fallen prey to the kind of things. Yeah, I know their potential, and because we went to school together, we interacted. And when I came here, I seen something way different. And when I talk to them, I'm like, bro, try to do this, try to do that, because you never know when your opportunity will come. You
That
know?
is correct. That is
Yeah.
correct. That's
So
correct.
in that regard, with the question from Eugenia, that's a great question, and I'm glad that all of us took stab at it because it's good considering the fact that most government officials in Liberia are using WhatsApp as because it is encrypted. And when we speak of encryption, there are various kinds of encryption, and you guys on here will know that. But how encrypted is it is something that you would never find out unless you're part of that institution. You know how back home they say, if you're not part of the society, you never know what the society is about.
That is
That
correct.
is the case with having encryption. WhatsApp encrypts their data, but to what extent? And this is where you have with the information technology, you have the play of audit. Auditing is part of information technology. When we decide to audit data, communications, and all of those things, if something were to happen, you want to audit the process. How do you audit that conversation or that communication? This is where it becomes tricky because you're not going to summon WhatsApp to the Senate to make available information that may have been transmitted to WhatsApp. You can't do that. And that is the reason why most government institutions, agencies around the world will isolate public medium of communication. They will use their own, the
That is correct.
provided devices and say, look, we will not stop you from using your personal device. Okay. In the case, I'm using my personal phone right now, but while I'm at work, I have my personal, my work related phone, right? Anything that I communicate on this phone, that phone is subject to any form of investigation or audit. So if I were to decide one day that I decide to take the state of North Carolina, all right, to court, I will have to provide this device as a form of evidence to anything that I'm subjecting them to, because my communication, my everything, God forbid. All right. So
Yeah.
why it is true that the application itself, the application WhatsApp is encrypted. The device that is being used is not encrypted, and that's what Eric and Telvi, of course, and Titus spoke to. The application is encrypted, but the device is not encrypted. And in information that we have, what we call the 7 layers, right? We will not get into that tonight. Hopefully, one of these days we will discuss that. But this is where it comes into play. You have the physical layer, and you have that of the application. In this case, it will be the application. The application, is it encrypted? Yes. Is the device itself vulnerable? Of course, the device could be vulnerable because we don't know what sort of encryption mechanism you have put in place to protect that particular device. So to avoid all of that, we will recommend, and I'm gonna close on this note, we'll recommend to the government of Liberia to say, put all of that aside, provide for these different public officials your own device. Buy them cell phone. It's gonna be a one-time heavy cost, but you will protect the country, and you can manage those devices and continue to have them recircle.
That is
Thank you,
correct.
Eric.
Yes. Well said. Well said.
One second, Eric.
Yeah, okay.
Why are they using WhatsApp? What is the service level agreement the government of Liberia has with WhatsApp, shoe in case there's a breach? So
Good question.
who becomes liable?
They got
Uh,
none.
Yeah,
Like
I mean,
speaking
WhatsApp-
about data integrity, I mean,
Yeah.
who's responsible for the data when it's compromised?
well,
You know?
Exactly.
in the first place, you know, the WhatsApp, they're using it as a personal thing. So the government of Liberia doesn't have a WhatsApp account, put it that way. So
Exactly. So you cannot be doing that. They
Yeah.
should be able to acquire a space, be it
Yeah.
Slack, be it Teams,
Yeah.
and, get a space, pay for it, and you will have an agreement with those company. They will do weekly or monthly update to make sure their system is secure.
Yeah,
Communicate
they constantly
critical
catch it.
information through that channel. Everybody in that channel, if you want to reach, I don't reach out to tell. I don't have to go on Facebook to go. I'll go through the messenger, our personal messenger chat and say, tell and give her the information. I gotta go post it on Facebook. So why are they even using that?
That's right.
It really baffles me, honestly.
Yeah, it's. I think we're just gonna go forward here real quick to the next one, but that I think it's just a willpower and maybe the leadership, because nothing happened without the leader, guys. So I'm gonna put it on the president or whoever that is in charge, because if Eric is a president of the Republic of Liberia today, whatever Eric wants probably will be implemented, because you will put other resources to it. You will lobby, you will talk to the Liberian people about it. This is what I want done. But if I had no clue what I want to fix or what I want to do, is not going to happen, because I just don't know about it, or maybe I don't even. Since I was born, I haven't seen anything like that. People hearing what they say, why you're talking about what is technology? We don't know why it means or what it can do for you guys. So they don't know. So lack of knowledge. So let's go to the next one, guy. Integrity. Man, the reason why we're doing CIA, because it's the bedrock of all the IT security. Any information that you have.
There's a question. There's a question being highlighted, if we're going to take a stab at it.
Okay.
But here's my thing. We can take a stab, but we will not cover all of these. Us will not cover the entire CIA. But it's a good thing. It's a good thing. Let's answer the question. I think it's important too that let's answer the questions. Yeah. So all right, I will go first on this question here. So RiverSys Pro is asking. He said, guys, once in a while, I use the library to do a lot of my work. Most of my personal informations are entered into their computers. Sometimes it worries me. Do you think the library is secure? Now, so here's my response to that, right? I can give you two answers, yes and no. And the reason why I'm not purposely trying to confuse you when I tell you yes and no, because the library is a public facility. They can only protect the transmission of data to some extent. And it depends on the facility as to how much funds are available to them. Again, this comes with allocation of funds, because I'm speaking from the knowledge and understanding of a person who worked in government and know how things are done. So it is tightening. It is tightened to some extent, but could it still be vulnerable? Remember, it's a public institution, it's a library. Just like we would say public Wi-Fi. All right. Public things are not often highly protected. So why it is true that it is protected, because maybe it is government owned or run, you still have some vulnerability. Even private institutions are vulnerable to some extent, but compared to public institutions, yes, I would say your data is open to some extent. Should you now try to take precaution? My recommendation to you would be start to utilize some private tool, like you can use your USB stick. If you're using if you're carrying your resume on there and downloading your resume to the computer, one thing I can tell you for a fact is nobody else out who is a part of that library is going to come and access your account. When you log in, you'll log into your account. When you move from that computer, nobody else is going to be no one will have that access to your data. But guess what? There are people who work in that institution with administrative level privileges. They will have access to that, or they could have access to that. So now I put you in a position where you're wondering to yourself, could the librarian, when I say librarian, I'm not talking about the librarian woman. I'm talking about librarian, the people who work in the library, right? Those people, could they possibly have access to your data? Yes, they could, because they may just have administrative privileges to that data. So going forward, River says, my recommendation to you is, if you're storing data on that, by the way, most libraries should not have, they should have a policy where it should be wipe and go. when you're on there, your data is on there. When you're no longer on there, it actually cleans it up, and the next person who comes on there, their data is on there. I just wanted to say that, guys. I hope I was in very lengthy, and I was able to answer your question.
That's all right. A little bit limited. That's fine. That's cool. But we gotta
My
start.
only thing to that whole thing is don't put your information on no public network.
That is
Zero.
correct. That is correct.
That's
Yes.
it.
That is
Don't
correct.
do it.
Yeah.
I don't care what they say. Don't do it.
Yeah. In
That's
short,
why-
secure
it.
is relative. Secure is
Yeah.
relative. It's
Yeah.
you know, how do we secure? Password security, whatever. You just don't know. And I would
Yeah.
say do not use the public library for your personal identifiable information.
do it.
Period. Don't do that, because
Don't
the thing
do
is,
it.
anything that you put on the computer is vulnerable to attack. How
Yeah.
secure is the library? Library usually they don't have fundings to have IT professionals doing monitorings and doing encryptions and viewing the logs. They have it. They don't have money for those kind of things. So in most
Yeah.
cases, the system are not secure. Okay, but let's go on though. Let's go on to the next one. Integrity. And the reason why I said I'm talking about CIA because, as I said, it's the bedrock of IT technology security. So CIA. Integrity is part of it. So let's discuss that. What is integrity, guys? In the simplest form, how can we know what integrity is? Anybody?
Well, I'll take a quick stab at it for the giants come in.
Sure.
I think a layman
There's
definition.
no giant anyway.
The CIA, they're tech giants. I gotta be careful, y'all. No, but on a serious note, I think it's just making sure that the data is not compromised, it's not altered, it's not tampered with. If it went from me to Titus, there's nothing that it just how it left for me. It must remain unchanged. If no word you can take away from the it must let me get to Titus. No changes. And if it's changed, that means Title is authorized to change that data. It's not changed because a hacker or some intruder or somebody who's doing no sepulchre business.
That's right.
That's my layman definition right there.
For sure. Yeah. Titus?
Yeah, Tav, you said it all. And yeah, basically if I'm the recipient or I'm the custodian of that data, I should have the exact copy of what Tav sent to me. So that's how they are back to liability to police business. Me and Tav talking something. Lofa don't have no business to maybe he walk in, he try to ear pick, he hears certain portion of it, and then he takes whatever portion of it and carry it and add his own dimension to it, and then compromises everything that we were talking. Telf had the actual story that I was trying to give, but then Lofa, the fact that he didn't have the actual privilege to the information, he was just eardropping, he took it and carried his own version. It have caused a lot of problem in Liberia because people will take information and just go and compromise it, just say it the way they see fit. But to the technology aspect, it's just making sure that the data is true to itself. It has to be authorized or alter. If it's not the recipient, if I'm the one supposed to make that change, I should be making that change. Anything outside that data integrity is flawed.
That is correct. That is correct. So let me add to that before you guys come in. So integrity, you guys said it well. It's just that in normal saying we speak to our people say, I'm a man integrity. I can't do that. I mean, you look at me, I'm a man integrity. What you are saying is that nothing can change you. No outside factors will modify your behavior. So integrity means you are not modifiable unless there is a permitted person to modify some things. That's integrity. So we talk about confidential. Let's take a look at a house. You have your house. You have your money, your everything in the house that you work for your whole life. So you want to keep it very confidential. That confidentiality. But for some reason, if you fail, to maybe you got your dog outside, you got your fence, you got your light, you got your window bars and other things, but still somebody was able to get into your house, to intrude into your house. Now, if you put a mechanism in place that a person is not able to change anything in your house, that's integrity. They shouldn't modify anything in a house or whatever the situation is. So the ability or the inability for somebody to not change something, that thing has integrity. So that's why security is based upon. like nobody is supposed to, confidentiality and then integrity. That means nobody should be able to change it at all. So that's it. That's the
Right.
general idea of that.
And I'm gonna use this analogy to just try to simplify things. River Says Pro sent me a letter, and he used Eric as the connecting dot to get the letter to me. All right. River Says Pro in that letter state, Lofa, I bought 2 acres of land in Riverside County, and in on one of those land, I bought diamond and gold, but I could not bring them to the United States, so I hid the diamond under the palm tree on the far right. Okay, that information is in that letter. That information, it gets to Eric. Okay, Eric then opened up the letter and read it, and then Eric changed, instead of the right side of the acre of land, Eric then changes that part. Instead of right, he put left, because Eric himself is interested in going to get that diamond, right? And Eric, I mean, nothing. It's not like, yeah, I'm just using it, right. All right. So I'm just trying to give the layman description or analogy when it comes to information integrity, right? And then Eric seals the letter after he changed it, and then he mails it to me, and then I receive it. That data is no longer it no longer possess its integrity. It had been messed with, modified to some extent. So when I get that data, the information you wanted, Riverside Pro wanted me to know, is where the diamond was stored. Eric now is in possession of that information, and he sent me the wrong information. So I will go to that particular spot to retrieve the diamond, when Eric already knows where the diamond is. Eric already went over there, took the diamond, went to Lo-Fi County. He already built 4, 5 mansions in Lo-Fi County. That is why. And when you speak to information integrity, all right, that is what it is. You modify information. And the reason why I use that analogy is just to bring it to the simplest term as to why it is important that we maintain the integrity of the data that is provided. And that's why we are saying to you that the government of Liberia must take into consideration these things and utilize mechanisms that will protect the data from everything else, such behavior and everything else. I'll stop at that point.
Sure. Before we go to tell, give me a second. I think you said it right. Let's take that to the government of Liberia. Let's say certain part of the government, let's say any branch of the government needs some kind of money for a project, and they say they need $5 million, so for the project. And then if somebody who at the other place who will receive the money can modify that 5 million to be maybe 50 million, whatever the situation, change your zero.
There you go.
So that information has been modified. That's going to hurt the government, and you can't tell. First thing, there's no accountability. You know who changed that particular 0 to 1 million to change the value. So you don't know. So that's the same thing that Julia is talking about here. So that's why I'm advocating for this thing to be implemented, because there'll be accountability and nobody will be able to change anything. Quiet.
Now laughing at the comment over there. I don't even want to read it. If God going to be no God said today.
Yeah, don't.
No. As Lofa was talking, I started thinking about, to bring it home, thinking about how digital signature and how it can be compromised, because think about how people sign their papers, or the minister sign one document, original document, and the minister is not there. And then somebody go to World Trade Center or whatever place, they sign, forge the minister's signature and sign, and then they go, take money from the bank account, whatever it is. When you look at the two signatures, they look alike, but it's really not the minister's signature. Saying we want to bring it home, but things like that, they're happening a lot in Liberia. People forge people's signatures, and just do bad things. I just want to be practical, with it.
Sounds good. Sounds good.
Yeah.
Titus?
Yeah, for that, the most recent of all is the government appointed list. So the president, there have been a lot of callbacks doing these stuff, right? It's because sometimes when the list leaves the president when he approves it, and then other
Oh,
people go and try to manipulate it.
good
So
one.
Oh,
to be
wow.
honest,
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
in that whole batch should be called back. You
Uh-oh.
understand?
Oh, come out of Liberia and come to the States and be a part of the conversation, bro.
I want to call you back. So you said about calling it.
Right. Come on back, bro.
At home, in North Carolina. Yeah, but
Okay.
that's the a very clear example from my understanding of
Mhm.
you know data not being having a full integrity because
That's right. That's right.
they people changing people names, man, and
Right.
then like you said, Eric, changing figures,
Mhm.
the people who did
Also,
the census, right? The guy that's kind of one of the statisticians that were there. He came through to speak his truth. He was saying a lot of crazy stuff. There were stuff for 5,000 to 10 to 50,000,
mhm,
and it
mhm,
were approved. And,
right.
all the minor
Mhm,
stuff.
mhm.
It affects the country. It affects our operation. It affects everything that we do. And that these are the sources of corruption. And I keep telling you, if they see that confidentiality thing is not set up well, there's no way anything else will have integrity, because every other thing now will just, because nobody's taking accountability or anything. That's
That
the
is right.
first thing. It's just like my war against your war.
That is right.
Judge Leah submitted his asset declaration. That should have been confidential. Whoever from there from LCC that brought it out. Now Judge Leah people saying they said he had 5 million there for shoes. He said he didn't put he never had 5 million there for shoes. He never spent 5 million on shoes. So who do we believe?
That's right. That's
You
right.
see, so that whole data, that whole thing, whether it's true or not, it has been compromised because somebody took that data from that place, that information from that place, unauthorized, and exposed it. So it's your war against my war.
That is
So
correct.
that's the integrity part of it.
That's right. So the general idea is that all these things can be fixed, can be put to rest, at least minimized, not completely alleviated, but at least minimized to some level if we implement technology. That's the main point we're trying to make here.
Mhm.
So
Eric, somebody asked me how often do we come on. This is great, guys. I think we started what, 3 weeks ago.
that
Right.
is correct.
Yeah,
About.
we started about 3 weeks ago. So we are on here every Sunday. And I don't know how is this that Eric, who's a friend of mine, is asking me. So yeah, we started 3 weeks ago. We are here, every Sunday, and Tech Talk is on right after voice from the Holy Bible. So yeah, come just continue to follow the platform, if you are interested and be a part of it. If you're interested in being a part of the panel, if you're into technology like Telf and then the guys on here, the gurus on here, man, I'm following the Agile, everything you're doing. So, come on.
Mhm. Yeah.
Yeah, we're recruiting. So if you're into technology and related, reach out to Lofa here, Wapa here.
Yeah, that's right.
People can say like, "Bro, Wapa Raka,
That's right.
Wapa here."
All right, so that's integrity. So in order for us to progress, to make sure that those information are not flying out there and there is no one to be held accountable, we have to hold those information, to a higher extent by creating some kind of corridor for integrity, so that they're not changed overnight, they're not modified, and we don't know who to point finger to. So the next one is what? Availability. So the thing is, if we have information that is very confidential, we want to make sure that we do all we can. We took all our precautionary measures and put it into place, and then make sure that they're not modified. That's integrity. But also want to make sure that when we need information, we go and get them so that nobody can take them from there. For example, you have a lot of money in your house on your mattress and you're keeping it for whatever it is. You want to make sure it's available at all times. So you got to put all the measures in place. So that's what we're going to go to next time. That's the next level of what we're talking about here. Availability. Somebody make it simple for me.
Oh, you forgot the other day when we had a network was down for a couple of weeks.
That is correct.
Perfect example.
Yep.
No redundancy play. four tolerance 0.
Yeah.
So that perfect example right there. There was no disaster recovery playing place. There was no like we said, there was no redundancy, nothing. That the fault tolerance was very low, and stuff like that. No fallback, nothing. So the culture was hurting financially, every way. Even the citizens were hurting. I mean, I can't even think about anything else when I think about availability of information.
That is correct. That is correct.
That's the only
Lofa?
thing.
Availability in information technology, we look at it this way, right? We have what we call the standard of the 5 nines. You must make sure that your network is available to the customers 99.9999999% of the time. What is that? Right. So what does that say? That tells me that if Eric works at the Department of State's Treasurer, Eric is the accountant. Okay. Eric expects to come to work every morning and have internet access. He should have access to all of the tools that he uses for his day-to-day activity. My responsibility is to maintain that all of those assets are available. Remember, Eric don't work on his Excel spreadsheet and then print it up and take it with him in his pocket or to wherever, or put it in his car. He stores that data on the network drive. But when Eric comes in the next morning, Eric needs to have access to that particular data. Okay? Now, this is where it becomes fishy. When Eric comes in the next morning, the network is down. So that means there's no internet. Eric cannot access that data because it's on the network. He did not store it. When I say on the network, I'm not talking about the actual computer. That means it's stored somewhere else on the server that you need access to that server to be able to obtain that data. Eric comes in the next morning. He tried to put up the Excel spreadsheet to update that Excel spreadsheet with Telvi Cole's paycheck. Telvi just made $250,000, and the company needs to be updated with her income. Eric needs to put that on there, but he cannot access that data. Availability. We must make sure that that information is available 99.9999999% of the time. Whether it is to the network being up at that amount of time, whether it is access, credentials, and all of those things. In short, it should be available 99.99999% of the time. In short, others would say, those of you that are following would say, but that pretty much, if you round it up 100% of the time. No, that's not how we look at it. We look at it as 99.999% of the time. If River says it's going to pick me up, he should be available to pick me up at that time when I expect him to be there. I don't know how to simplify this part of it. This is probably one of the weakest ones because I am heavily into network and other thing, and it upset me when I have to sit here and expect to have things done or expect any of my techs to get things done, and they're not getting it done because they want to shift the blame instead of finding solution. So I'm sorry if I cannot simplify what it means to be available. That's all I can say. Maybe the only thing I can come up with, when your wife sends you to the store to go buy a dry fish, and then you're not available, you're on the checkerboard or playing Ludo, she gonna get upset. That's all I can say about that. I hope I tried.
That's a problem. If you're gonna be on a phone, you're not giving your wife attention when she wanted it. That's a problem.
There you go. Thank you. That's a good one. Right.
You're not available. So that's it. I mean, another one I can give during the election time, the Liberian election, any LEC, what do they call it? NEC.
NEC, the website was down for a
They were
while.
down for some time.
Right,
That is
right,
lack of availability. So that there are no
right,
mechanism in place. And I
right.
did a research. The website I think they subscribe to some kind of what was it? Yeah, yeah, Cloudflare, whatever. I don't
Cloudflare,
know.
yeah,
Yeah,
Cloudflare,
I don't know who was
yeah,
hosting that, but that was what it for. And
Cloudflare.
also, if you don't have your own thing, if it fails, if it falls apart, you cannot fix it. There's no way. So they rather use the Facebook to publish the election result. That's what they call maintaining availability. So when anything we need it, at what point in time we need it, it should be available. So that is the key. So that's why we kind of try to bring home here to all the things that we just talked about. They will help the country, they will help individual, they will help the businesses, and we all have a very beautiful country. Anything else, guys?
Yeah,
As you are talking about that, I was thinking even about the electricity business. I have my children at not JFK, Cali Hospital. So just think about, I started thinking about childbirth. You're in a hospital, the doctor doing some kind of serious surgery on you, light go off.
Exactly.
If the light go off, they will have a standby generator that will come on right away. So that the doctor can continue working, but doctor be working in the darkness, doing major surgery, delivering people. People can die.
That's
a lot of
risky.
things can happen.
Yeah.
So I got to. I'm sorry, Tev. I was just gonna. Did you land? I wanted to ask
No,
you.
I finished. I don't want to be very
so
with that.
okay. So to our audience, though, I want to know whether people were really paying attention to all the time we spent here. What was the acronym that was discussed here tonight? If you follow and listen, can you provide for just come in the comment section? Eric, I'm sorry, I'm not trying to play your role here tonight, but so I just want to know if folks were really following. Can you comment the acronym that was discussed here tonight that cover all of those things that we spoke to tonight? Just the acronym, okay, that was discussed here tonight.
Because C was the most important, but you can't call it C. Just say C was
no. We want to know. We want to know the entire acronym. Don't just give one letter. We want to know the entire part of it, the entire acronym that was discussed here tonight. But I just wanted to kind of quiz them on whether they're paying attention.
I haven't spoken on availability though.
Oh, okay.
Oh, sorry.
Sorry about that. Go ahead.
It's too quiet.
Go ahead,
That's
yeah. So availability is very, very dear to me because I worked as a database administrator before, like I said earlier, and one of the things that we were tasked to ensure is that the system be available to our customer all the time, and if there were issues where we have to go offline, we had to bring that system back up in as soon as possible than based on the agreement that we had. So there were times where I had to work Saturday, Sunday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, because obviously we will patch, we will upgrade database servers, then we will do smoke tests on Saturday evening, running up to Sunday, to make sure that by the time Monday comes, we have all the system available. But I would for this, I don't know how I can go to the layman. It has to be a little technical. So availability is a commemoration of different things. So security plays a part. So is the system secure? Because if sometimes the hackers come to compromise the system to deprive end user from accessing those systems, to make you lose your integrity, to make you to lose your customer, right? So they do that denial of service. Sometimes they do the DDoS. So it blocks all your legit customer from accessing the system. So then you lose your integrity. They also come to steal data. They will come and steal your data. Also, as a database person in the back, what are you doing to make sure your database is always available? How connections are coming through the application? What are you doing for load balancing? communication coming from left, communication coming from right, and it coming, there are peak periods a lot of time or a certain time of the day, or you have a lot of connection coming. Your system will be slow. If your system continue to be slow, obviously people will say, let me go to the other side instead of coming here. They will look for somewhere that has all the architecture in place. What about your fault tolerance? If there's a failure on your system, how can you self-heal, to make sure the system becomes available in the soonest possible time? So current or electricity, for instance, if you running your own data center and there's heavy rain or lightning and it's cracked, how can you make sure that data center gets back up and functioning in the soonest possible time to make sure that your customer have access to that? And then if a serious disaster takes place, where do you have a redundant copy of those information that will ensure that, okay, in the next hour, because sometimes the customer will be considerate if something happened by in North Carolina, you can tell and say, okay, I got your record in how you call it, Virginia, but
Right.
you can give me 4 or 5 hours, you will be up and functioning. But you cannot be telling them, oh, we have everything here. We have one were in Raleigh, the other one were in Wake Forest. You might as well just
Oh,
get
you want to say, Abel, go sue me.
Right, go to me. Yeah, that
Go
branch
sue
stop.
me.
Go
You
to
can't
me,
see the, you
man.
can't see the rain are
Go
falling
sue
outside,
me.
and that's my problem.
Yeah, so these are just, I just wanted to say it, but it's hard to speak of it from our library setting other than the shortage that took place recently, because we don't even have a system there, so we
That is
Mhm.
cannot
correct.
even talk about availability
Yeah.
there in the
Mhm.
first place. So that just wanted to
Right.
chime in.
So since
You,
it's Cindy, I think you came in a little late. We actually spoke to that. I think that was the first question somebody asked here earlier about integrity. What does the word integrity in networking means? I think we kind of covered that, and I don't know if you guys want to stab into that again, but I think it was covered lengthily. We actually spent a heavy amount of time discussing integrity when it comes to network and information technology. But that again, that I think it's good that actually brought the question back up though, because this is something that is heavily needed when we speak of Liberia and governance, right? We spoke, we emphasized on data integrity, network integrity, and all of those things. So I'm glad that Yacindy actually posed this question again. She said, um, what does the word integrity means in networking? So, and like I said,
so
it was
is it computer networking or people got networking?
that's a good question. That's a good question. Wow, that's hey, you know what? Okay, the hey, I'm assuming she probably meant computer
Computer
networking because
networking.
we're discussing
We're
information
discussing. Okay.
technology. But
Well,
and yeah, but that's a good question though. I just
yeah,
wanted to
yeah.
highlight her. All right, I'll give it back
Yeah,
to
because
Eric.
sometimes the reason to I ask because both I mean we understand when people hear us talking about integrity, thinking we're talking about people. But in
People,
this case, we're
okay,
talking about
okay,
data,
okay. That's a
information.
fair point.
Yes.
Yeah,
And so
that
just want to
But
yeah, but I mean yesterday I'm tech savvy, so I'm sure she's talking about it from a technology standpoint.
to a
But
lot,
I think when we talk about integrity, I'll take a stab at you guys can come in. We kind of spoke in great length to it, but in a
right.
nutshell, it's more about the information being untampered with. It is not compromised. If it left from me to Eric, it remains the same when it gets to Eric. And if any change has to be made, there's no man in the middle, any alteration, anything has to be made. The person must be authorized to make that change. So
Perfect.
in a nutshell, that's all it is. Um,
That is correct. That's perfectly
Hey,
said.
Tep already. I mean, she summed it up. I have nothing to add to it. I think that we all actually went at it earlier. So I mean,
but
I would just
people integrity also plays a part, most especially for our library system, because some people maliciously decides to alter information just to get for their own benefit. If you did it mistakenly, it's understandable, but you know that what you're doing and you know your anticipated outcome, you compromise the system. So
That is
that
correct.
that yeah, and
that's
that plays into data integrity. And just kind of chiming here, let's acknowledge the fact that Riversets Pro paid keen attention to what was discussed today. And if you notice, Riversets actually he provided the acronym and the definitions in detail. He spoke to, like, he gave us the CIA and the definition of the CIA. So I didn't want to ignore that because we questioned, and it was only River says that really answered the question. Of all of the people, I think we had about 30 or 40 some more people who came on earlier, and River says was the only person who actually answered the question as far as what was discussed today. So he was really paying attention. I'm grateful that at least one person paid keen attention and learned from. Hopefully, everybody else learned, but at least he was able to provide to us some kind of response to let us know that our time here wasn't wasted.
That's right. That's right. That's right. That is correct. So I think we probably exhausted all we had to talk about today. Hopefully, as Julia said, we learned from it. And then in all the things that we said about the CIA, there are mechanisms in place for every level. For the confidentiality, there are things that technology have to put in place to make sure that confidentiality is preserved, even integrity as well, to even in availability. There are things that we have to put in place that technology have. We ain't just saying it because we want to say it, but they are all possible. They are all possible. So when we have the technology deployed, we have things to put in place that all the things are observed and remain intact. So that is what we're trying to put through here today. Anybody else has
Are we closing now, Eric? Are we closing?
well, let's close. Yeah, let's close. If there's nothing else to be said.
Well, yeah, we can wrap it up. But let's take some questions. Lofa, you want to take
Yeah,
questions?
I think let's take some questions.
Not
The
questions,
comment,
but calls.
or we'll have to do it by comment though. We can't. You have to be comment. It have to be comment, right? Because I'm not in the studio. But
Okay.
right. Let if anybody have let's give at least about 5 or 10 minutes for people to post questions to the comment section on here. If you have any question,
I don't know how
this
many
is
people
the-
watching now, though. So not a lot. So we don't.
Yeah.
Have that much.
we do. Yeah, I mean, here comes Sister Cindy. So she posed a question and say, "I came late. I was speaking of technology since you all are talking tech and the role of human integrity. Sorry, I came late, but we need more people to get the message." I agree. Totally agree, Sister Cindy, and you. Yeah, you are absolutely correct. We need more people to get the message across when it comes to integrity, data integrity, and everything else. But again, we can maybe we'll wait maybe a minute or so, we can kind of wrap it up. I personally feel like, I think we have exhausted enough information or time on here. We can start to close up, and if people come in with questions, then we can respond to the question instead of sitting to wait for them to kind of respond or post questions on here. Again,
No, I think we can.
we
I
must
agree.
we
I
must
think we
be
can wrap up.
right. We must be again very cognizant of the fact that availability. You must be available to your family. You must be
Of course,
available to your work. You must be available to right. So we're not
and
gonna
be
we're not
available
gonna.
for Monday morning.
There you go. We're not gonna step on that part of it. But I think it was a great conversation from my perspective. I learned a lot from you guys when it comes to the CIA, and I just want to emphasize the fact that the CIA is in no way, shape, or form addressing the CIA in Washington D.C., not the CIA that President George Weah is a member of. Okay, we
So
are
look how
talking
you
about.
worrying. Be carrying the phone with you. You can't be having sure you can't let people call. Anywhere you go,
See
you
it?
put that phone in your hip.
You see alive? You see alive? But in short, I want to be very thankful to our brother Eric for actually hosting it, and this was a great topic for discussion. Hopefully, our people learn from just the individual level to the enterprise level, enterprise or business level, as people would call it. Government should take heed to some of the suggestions that were made here and see how best we can tighten our infrastructure, our security, and other things on here because the discussion today provided solution. The good thing about Tech Talks, I don't want to kind of tilt our little horn here, but Tech Talk, we don't simply emphasize on the problem. We provide solutions. All right, here on Tech Talk. All of our discussions have always been we will print out the loopholes and then we will provide for you possible solutions. And this is what we did here tonight. It was displayed on this platform tonight and previous time where and how we can get things done. So again, I'm proud and grateful to be a part of this platform with intelligent men and women that we can often do this. I hope that I hope we can have a group of nurses to actually host their own platform on nursing as well on across Africa to better Liberia. But with that said, man, I'm good. Eric, thank you again for doing what you did, and I appreciate you and everybody else on here tonight.
Thank you.
Thank Julia, thank for giving me the opportunity to do that. I'm not sure how well I did, but that's it.
He did good, man.
It was
yeah,
great. You did
yeah.
Yeah,
good.
and Eric, not only great, you did finesse. What's the what? Hold up, please,
Listen,
please
Trim, you're
add.
supposed to
Julia,
have.
listen,
Trim, you're supposed to
Julia,
have some kind of drum roll there. If you need to play the
Julia.
Right,
drum
right. That
roll,
should be a drummer.
yeah, yeah, Trim, you
Dang,
have
dang,
that drum
dang.
roll.
Julius, let me tell you a funny story. Don't out of the American, a lady had a baby, young baby, on her back, like, tired baby, whatever it is.
Uh-huh.
The baby was, like crying, other things. And walking, oh, she's so cute. Yeah, I think that one thing around, oh, that's an ugly baby. But I'm realizing I'm
No.
imagine everything cute. Oh, it's so cute, man. Deep down in your heart, like, oh my god.
That baby was ugly, right? No. With Martina, you did a great job here tonight. There's no reason we change that position.
For sure. But no, it was
I'm
nice
sorry
being
for
here,
my
though.
salsa. Otherwise, I'll come to shake my tamarind for you. But
Yeah,
apart
yes,
from
yes.
that,
Right,
you did
right.
great.
Yeah, for sure. It was nice. It was nice being here, guys. I think this is very important, and so hopefully we're gonna get a result from this, and see how it goes. But thanks you guys so much for providing the kind of knowledge. Hopefully our next topic, we can go into detail and see what happens.
Oh, good job. Tap next week. Tap.
I
Yes.
love that one. We thought I
Yeah,
would be able to
from
see.
from
But
from
let me wrap up. Oh,
yeah,
Tyrus, are you going?
yeah. You can go, ladies before gentlemen.
No, I'm gonna be quick. No, it
Yeah.
was an excellent show. Very, very, very a good learning experience. But just as a recap, I want to talk about like we said, confidentiality. It's making sure that any information is in the right hand, not spread information when you get no business spread, giving it to your man, my boy, my cat. No, need to know business. So that's it. Integrity, the information is unaltered, it is unchanged, it's in its full state like it should be. And like we say, availability information is available at all time, all 99.999, Lofa said, always available. And some of the ways you can make information available to your job or wherever you are in, especially with Liberia, make sure you're patching, having a good system, having backup plan, the internet available, information available. I can go down the list, but it's a great show. We're here to learn from each other. And hopefully you took something away from this discussion. If not all of it, one thing, you learned something new today. So have a blessed week, and we'll see you guys next week or wherever time we'll see you. So thank you.
Sounds good. Thank you, Tay.
Yeah, from my end, I just want to say thank you to my fellow panelists for the opportunity. It was very educating. And I just want to dive into what Sis Yasine was saying. These conversations are very important. And if we have the actual audience, it will go a far way in trying to revamp our system, because we actually need these things working in Liberia to make all this strive that everybody talking about. Nothing gonna work in Liberia without putting in place some of these things, because these are the foundation. These are the foundation that will be used to build better healthcare, to deliver better education, to build infrastructure. Anything that we want in Liberia, it starts from the kind of stuff. And it's so sad that Liberia, I don't know how we started. I don't know how we got here 140 something or 70 something years later. We don't have that foundation, but it's not too late. Even though we in the Western world, we are far ahead. We're trying to make robots to be doing all our work now. but we in Liberia we haven't even started. So hopefully they can start when the robots start working here. We can all go back to Liberia and start doing our work there.
Small. I will have one show just on AI and
No,
robotics.
Exactly.
but on another note, let's try to see how best we can do some publicity to actually have a larger audience, and, people following, because these are very important information
For
though.
sure, I agree. I
Because
definitely agree. We gotta
imagine
get a strategy in
imagine
place.
imagine we never get to speak about the CIA again, or let's say in the next 5 6 months, and then we start having the bigger audience, we start talking some more about in-depth things, and then people are lost, right?
That's right.
So I think whatever
I,
we can do in our own ways to draw more people
Right.
to worry, and just keep it objective, involve politics and all that, so certain people can say, oh, the people that the bias or this and that, it'll be good, honestly.
and I'm not trying to say this to be on the negative side, guys. I'm sorry, but the community you find yourself in, I wish you guys the best of luck. To think that you will get above 100 or more person. I'm thinking last time we came on, we had about 100. I agree with that. Above that, it's going to be kind of difficult because it appears as though I'm not trying to denigrate or be condescending to my community, but if you're not here cussing ma and pa, you're not going to get that number because
True.
that is not the kind of thing that they subscribe to. Okay, so I think our focus point should be on how impactful the message is, whether it is one or two persons that may benefit from this. I think that should be our focus point as compared to or how big the number is. The quantity should not be our concern. Our quality of work presented, and thus far, I must be honest with you, the feedback have been really, I mean, it's welcoming. A lot of people are appreciative of the fact that we are even dedicating our time to address some of the things that it could be of much more concern. So I think the more we go, we should actually tax our listening audience with the responsibility to invite other people on. That part should not be our responsibility because you have already sacrificed your time, Telvi. Eric could be with his family. Titus, you could be with your family. Guess what we did? We chose to be on here to discuss things that are of, I mean, importance to our society. So we should also tax those who are coming on to tag their friends and share the show so that we can educate the entire community to some extent, because we should not always make ourselves available to take on the heavy load. Then other people feel like they can always benefit from us. I think we all should be liable for all of these things as much as possible. Again, it's just my suggestion. I'm not trying to be hard on people or anything, but I think we are or should be held accountable when it comes to Liberia transformation. And that's why all of us on here tonight, or else I'll be sitting somewhere else playing, you know, pool or something. But here I am discussing text. Tech Talk is not just simply to show our faces in front of the camera, but we want to impact society to some extent. So I think this is one of the kind. If one would speak of it, I don't know whether there have been any Tech Talk in the Liberian community. If I'm wrong, please point me out. But this is one of the kind, and I think we can actually highlight it even more than we have.
For
Lofa,
sure.
Thank you, Eric.
I got one question for you though. What effort will it require to get it maybe air or on a station? It, my,
On a local radio stations
yeah, my
in
only concern
Liberia.
is these information are important, and I'm not talking about the Facebook viewer, but the actual people. Sometimes they in their bed lying down. By this time they could be listening to
Yeah.
it at home, right?
All right. What I could
I
do?
think we
What I
have
could
to
do?
post on strings there because some of all our got little connections in
There
connections.
you go. There you go. So
I
yeah,
think I think
what I could do is, I mean, I know for a fact that I've already established a connection with
Truth.
a radio station in Mangibi where Talk Liberia is going to be aired every Tuesdays and Thursdays on their local radio station. So maybe we can reach out to them, but maybe we also want to reach out to a radio station in Monrovia. Remember, Monrovia is the political capital, right? If we can reach out to any of the radio stations in Monrovia and they can provide for us time, it's just that we will have to pay for it. They're not going to do it for us free,
No,
right?
we want free. We all can
Right.
pitch in. We want
Yeah,
free.
so we can we can definitely do that. But let's talk about it.
Yeah, I think we can discuss that in the back or so.
Let's talk about that. Let's talk about that in the back. Yeah, we'll talk about it in the back.
Yeah.
But Eric, back to you, boss man.
Yeah, thanks so much, guys. I think if there's nothing else to be said, I think we are all, chipping as well. And I'm pretty sure it means a lot. But when it comes to the time issue, maybe we should look up, since our target audience maybe in Liberia, maybe time they are sleeping, maybe we try to work on our time on the side that we can meet them up when they are not sleeping or so. Otherwise, I think it's a great show, and look forward to it next time.
Okay, guys.
Thanks.
Yeah, have a blessed week.
Yeah, have a good night.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah.